we need to learn what our body is telling us. And when it comes to food, that is the most, innate and primal energy we have. It's like you said with the beets, if you are drawn to a food or even a flavor or something, your body is giving you a message. We're just not listening.
Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless. Hi, everybody. It's Blaine today, and I am doing my first interview. I'm with Kimberly Ashton, who is my food energetics teacher, and I feel like this is a friendly and gentle way for me to do my first interview. For those of you who are newer listeners or watchers of the podcast, Lauren and I started, it's been over 2 years ago, we started Energy Works. And at the time, I wasn't as interested in doing interviews, but Lauren was. And so we would do the podcast together with Lauren and I. And then I would do solos sometimes, and Lauren does solos sometimes. And then Lauren also has done several interview podcasts. And under the umbrella of Energy Works, we call the interviews Big Ideas. And I don't even know, it's just been an evolution. I have decided that I probably want to start doing interviews as well. So Kimberly is my first one. And like I said, she's a very safe and kind woman. And I have my own questions for her. So a little bit of background, and Kimberly, you probably don't even know this. How I found Kimberly is because in energy medicine yoga, as many of you know, really the backbone of almost everything we do is 5-element theory. And I've been studying 5-element theory for quite a while now, kind of 3 different lenses and with different teachers. And in my personal health journey, changing my diet made a radical change. Again, many of you know this about me already. I won't dive into the whole story, but from when I was 16 years old to 37 years old, I suffered from really significant health problem, very specific, significant health problem. And I saw all kinds of specialists and doctors and was hospitalized many times. And I mean, everything, and nothing made it better. And then upon a suggestion from a non-doctor, I made a dietary change, and literally overnight, it all went away. And that was in 2009. And so then I've been in health and wellness my whole life. And so I became a certified health coach, and I made a big dietary change and then started studying diet and nutrition and did some coaching and spent some years supporting people with their diet and nutrition, blah, blah, blah. So I will also say, many of you know that I'm a primary metal element, and that ailment I had to do with my lungs. So now that I know more and more about 5-element theory, of course, there's some other things going on that, it's never just one thing. But truly a dietary change made a huge impact in my life. And so one day, I don't even know, Kimberly, 2-3 years ago, I remember where I was sitting in my house and I just had this light bulb. There's got to be some intersection between nutrition and 5-element theory. There just has to be, but I had never heard of it. And so I just started Googling 5-element nutrition, Chinese, I was just Googling, and then Kimberly's company. And Kimberly is in Australia. I am in the United States. Kimberly's company popped up, and I went to her website, and she was building a wait list for a course that she was launching, and I put myself on the wait list, and then I joined the course, and that is how we met, and I've continued to study with her, and I just love everything she puts out. I love working with Kimberly so much. That was a long intro. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi. Oh, I love that. I love a good story and an intro.
Yeah. So, you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself? I would love to know because I don't know. Um, as like I know you live in Australia. You don't look Australian so much. And so a little bit about like who you are and where you came from and what drew you to Chinese dietary therapy.
Sure. Yes, I'd love to share. Thank you so much for the intro. Um, I am half Chinese, so my mum is from Hong Kong and my dad was English. And I was actually born in Singapore. So, as a English expat kid. And so I grew up with the notion of everyone is the same, even though we're different. So I was a bit of a sponge and I soaked up all different cultures and food in particular. So I grew up thinking that, eating, multicultural food was normal. And then I moved to Australia when I was at the end of high school and finished school and did university here. And when was in university, I wanted to learn Asian languages, and I was thinking Japanese, and then I was like, no, I better do Chinese. So I spent a few years in China, and then that led to 17 years working over there. And I was actually, my first foray into wellness was in yoga as well. So I was really into the movement practices, but not so much food. And I was going to say a similar story to you. I wasn't in hospital though, but I had lots of health issues and skin issues and gut issues. And I started seeing an acupuncturist. Dr. Jung is her name, my teacher and mentor. And she was very big on food and nutrition and emotional health. So I have her to credit for my path, which is what I've gone down as well, helping people with five element nutrition, or Chinese medicine dietary therapy or food therapy, TCM food therapy are the names of it. And that's the short version of the story. And then opened a health food store. I was in a corporate event management career for many years, and then me and a friend opened a health food store. And we had a classroom, I'd say, like a demo kitchen, and we did many cooking classes. Back then, it was actually we started with like just healthy, wholesome food. It was not Chinese food or five element food. It was we went down a path where it was all plant-based for actually many years, and then the only thing we added in was eggs, which was interesting. It's just easier to cook with those ingredients, and at the time showing Chinese people how to eat like brown rice because it's not something they would eat. So it was it was kind of bit unusual, and introducing the notion of superfoods. So even like Chinese superfoods like goji berries, the term superfood was not there in society at that time. It's definitely changed a lot. And yes, we ran the store and the cooking classroom for about 6 years, and then I moved back to Australia in end of 2019. So and then I took everything online. I did a complete shift, and it was just me. So that's when Chi Food Therapy, in its current form, was born. But it and myself went through many changes and I guess deaths and rebirth to get to where we are today.
Understood. Yeah, same here. I've had many deaths and rebirths. So your health food store and kitchen, was that Shanghai? Is that what I've heard before?
It was in Shanghai, yeah.
And so I think it's interesting you say that, you had to teach them to eat brown rice, which I can understand. I mean, white rice is what they eat, right?
Yeah, yeah. And just, back then it was very different in like just nutrition concepts. So we didn't start with five element nutrition at all. As I said, that kind of evolved. We actually brought in Dr. Jung, my acupuncturist. Her English was fantastic. So we had bilingual classes and all sorts of things. But we were teaching, fiber and macronutrients, like really basic things, because that wasn't common knowledge. It was before the age of, they don't have Instagram over there, but the alternative social medias there. everything was just starting. So it was very exciting, to be honest. We were on TV shows and podcasts or the equivalent of podcasts and interviews, because it was, at the time, it was so new. The idea of eating healthy, wholesome, whole foods was very new. And then the next step, actually, before we started doing more Chinese medicine, was macrobiotics, because I just got into that. And that's when the brown rice started, because I was like, oh, we need to eat more whole grains, because you're right, they're predominantly a white rice eating culture. That's changed again now, as more and more, multi-grain porridges have become very trendy, and all the convenience stores now sell a lot of Chinese medicine products. There's so many more products there now that are convenient and easy and very, very healthy and follow the principles of 5 elements. So in many ways, I think Chinese medicine and also 5 element nutrition has had a resurgence in China in the last, definitely in the last 7 years, 6, 7 years, while I've been not there. But it's exciting to see. There's a huge, I call it a bit of a wave, or a tidal wave of Chinese medicine content, whether on 5 element content, whether it's yoga or acupuncture, or definitely lots in the food and nutrition space. And there are a lot of, women, there's men too, but they're definitely in their 30s or late 20s. And in Chinese medicine, we have a 7-year cycle of life for women anyway, 8 for men. And so I'm seeing the whole landscape from a different perspective, not trying to keep up or sort of jump back in. There was a point where I was like, oh, I've got to do more. And I was like, no, they can do it. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do and move a tiny bit slower. And yeah, I'm more about substance at the moment. There's a lot of information online on social media. Too much information, probably. I think we're all feeling it. There's just a lot to scroll through, and a lot of it's the same. And of course, there's AI as well, making pretty charts and things, which is great. I think general awareness is expanding. And I'm more than happy to go into what 5 element nutrition is, but it's different times that we're in now. You probably find it with yoga as well, right? Like, there's so much information out there. It's really important for people to find people like yourselves who are living and breathing what you're teaching with energy medicine, yoga, and the elements. Otherwise, it just becomes like information or books and text and copy and paste, and it just becomes too much, and our bodies can't handle all that information.
Yes, that is a fact. The spleen. Whew.
Yeah, the spleen. That's
tired.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening and they're like, what do you mean spleen? The spleen is our thinking mind. It's the spirit of the yi in Chinese medicine, and it digests everything and has to digest all of our social media and all of our inputs. And so, which is why food and nutrition is actually really important to sort of anchor the mind and keep us stable, not just, with blood sugar, but the thoughts that we have and the information that we're consuming all have to be processed through the spleen. I think it's not surprising when people are surprised about digestive issues or health issues. I'm like, no, it all starts in the spleen, and we're all doing too much and consuming too much and on the screens too much, and the spleen just needs a break, mine included. I'm very guilty of over-consuming information, and I love learning, so I'm constantly doing that, but it is taxing for the spleen, especially if you're not eating a wholesome diet that's suitable for your body.
Yeah, so I do want you, I would love for our audience to hear in your words, what is 5 element nutrition? But I also have a question, because you spent so much time in China. When I teach energy medicine yoga at yoga festivals or at the local rec center, when I'm in in-person situations and not online, it's not uncommon for me to have Chinese people who are with me, and it's really not uncommon for Chinese people to come up and ask me, like, what was this point? What was this point? They don't know. And they're coming to me. And then it's not uncommon for them to say that my mom said that this is all bullshit. But, just Chinese people who don't believe in Chinese medicine, they believe in Western medicine, or they believe in something else. I mean, I'm saying very common.
Yeah.
It is very common for me to hear a Chinese person say that someone they know or their own mother thinks this is all bullshit. Was that your experience in China?
Yeah, so when we started the health food store, we had it for 6 years. The first 2 years was all expats. We had Chinese people wander in the store. Maybe they'd buy something, but they didn't quite understand. I mean, and the store, let me just put it in context, was definitely more of a Western health food store. I mean, we had goji berries, but Chinese people didn't buy the goji berries. No, the expats did. So our first wave of students, including for the Chinese medicine course that we partnered with Dr. Jung, was all English speakers. They might have been, Malaysian Chinese or Chinese returned Chinese from the US, but it was predominantly, expats. And then there was a shift. About 2 years in, we started to see more Chinese people come. And I would always poll the room, whether it was 10 people or 20 people in a class. I would say, who's tried acupuncture, who's tried Chinese medicine, just for fun, because I had it in me, as my experience and my journey with it had proven so much benefit. And it also shifted. So of the expats, about 80-90% put their hand up that they tried it or were having regular acupuncture and herbs and things like that. And for Chinese people, it was probably, I don't know, at 20% at most if it was a room of Chinese people. So it was very low, and exactly a replicate of your example just then, though I think it's changing, because that's what I'm seeing on my Instagram anyway. Anyone with an Asian grandma is talking about grandma's soup or grandma's teas and sharing that information, which I love. I think it's very exciting because there's a little bit of ancestral wisdom coming through. There's a bit of appreciation for their cultural heritage, mine included. I was the same when I was young. I was like, oh, I don't want to drink the soup, or I don't want to do the, my mum would make me herbal soups. But it's not something to dismiss. I think that it's something to be curious about, and I'm definitely seeing the curiosity there. So I think that's going to change. You might have students who are, gonna want to work with you or share stuff with you or learn from you. And I think that happens in a lot of the wellness world where things have come from a traditional culture. If we look at yoga, for example, it's not till it's popularized overseas that it becomes more interesting or appealing back in its country of origin. And I'm seeing that definitely with China in general and Asia as well. There's so many like new products and new brands and new tea houses and new, you can go to an ice cream store in Shanghai now, apparently, and you can have like all these, really unusual Chinese medicine, herbal, fruit, flower flavored ice creams, which never, existed before. So I think it's definitely shifting. And yeah, it would be interesting I would love for you to update us even within a year, how that shifts, because the awareness is there now. The next step is the curiosity, and then the belief once they start, trying it for themselves. Because you're right, maybe their grandma thinks it's bullshit. Sorry, their mother, but grandma and great grandma definitely did not. Definitely did not. So yeah, they're gonna start embrace. Not everyone, obviously, but most people will start to embrace it, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, what I've learned from you, Kimberly, is that we shouldn't be eating ice cream, but
Correct.
we can come back to that. Well, you, in your words, share with the audience, what is 5-element nutrition?
Yeah. So 5-element nutrition is an uncommon term. I definitely didn't invent it, but I have really gone with that because it's more interesting to me anyway. And not so limiting than just, traditionally it was called Chinese medicine food therapy or Chinese medicine dietary therapy or even dietetics, which are great terms, and I sometimes, use those. But I'll explain briefly what that point, and then I'll go back and explain what Chinese medicine or 5-element nutrition is. But in my kind of evolving of this concept of nutrition under Chinese medicine, I wanted it to not just be limited to Chinese food. So 5 elements is the 5 elements of water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And you can actually apply that to any food culture in the world. So what we teach is Chinese medicine food therapy. But if you are in Greece, or if you're in Australia, or if you're in Japan, or if you're in South America, the concepts underlying it, which include food energetics, seasonal eating, thermal nature, you can actually apply them to any cuisine. So that's how I kind of wanted to shift away from just calling it Chinese medicine dietary therapy. So, but all those names are the same thing. And what is included in Five Element Nutrition is a deep understanding of seasonal eating and cyclical eating, so that we're not eating the same thing all year round. Unless you live in the equator, when it's hot and tropical, maybe that's not going to vary as much. But for most of us, we live in a 4-season climate, or we would say 5-season climate. We have a late summer in there as well. It's important to eat according to the season and what the foods are available in nature that brings us greatest harmony in our body internally as well, so that we can deal with the seasons, whether it's hot and humid or whether it's dry and cold. There's certain foods that will help us. Nature, by design, gave us these foods, and we can learn how to eat them. Then there's also cooking energetics as well. So it's not just the ingredients or eating, pumpkin in fall or autumn or cucumbers in summer. There is another layer, which is how do we prepare the food, which I think is one of the most fun parts of Five Element Nutrition, is the understanding of how you can change a meal or a dish or your condition in your body by whether you're roasting it or baking it in the oven, or whether you're steaming it or boiling it. So that's a fascinating layer that isn't covered in, say, Western nutrition. So I came through a health coaching and Western nutrition background as well. And I felt there was always something missing. And then when I met Dr. Jung, my teacher and mentor, who was, as I said, big on food and emotions, she just connected all the dots. I'm like, there is more. And then with my study and training in macrobiotics as well, I was like, they're very big into the cooking energetics as well. And I was like starting to feel it for myself. So I always encourage people to self-experiment with all these things I'm talking about. We also have another layer, which is the thermal nature of food. So an inherent property of every food. Food can be categorized into 5 layers or categories as well. So it could be hot or warming to the body. They can be neutral, they can be cooling, and they can be cold. So an example of cooling foods, which is perfect for you guys in summer, is cucumbers and watermelon and all the melon family, things like mint and fresh vegetables. You could have more raw in terms of salads, or maybe light steaming or sautéing or stir frying is perfect for summer season. So just this deep understanding that there are these 5 elements, there's 5 seasons, there's 5 different energies, and we can go shopping for different food or prepare our food based on how we're feeling and what the weather's doing in the climate and the season. And yeah, it's quite different in that regard from Western nutrition. Our approach isn't so much proteins, fats, and carbs. I think it becomes very powerful when you put them together. So if someone has a Western nutrition background or is following a specific way of eating, and then you add in some 5-element wisdom, it becomes really transformational to the body, because you're going from like the science and the theory of Western nutrition, and you're getting a lot of intuitive capacity through 5-element nutrition. It's really building that intuition, like how does my body feel? What do I need to eat? And asking your body and connecting to the body, rather than being so external. We kind of bring the energy and perspective back into yourself, because no one can tell you what to eat, really. Like, nobody knows how you're feeling today, Blaine. I can't say you should eat, this menu plan today, because maybe you feel very different than yesterday. So, yeah, that's the short version of 5-element nutrition.
Thank you. I think that was great. And yes, I know, I feel like I could study forever and ever and ever, because like you said, there are so many layers. But one thing that you said that has been part of my journey, and I'm a baby at this, right? I've only been doing this a couple of years. But it does help me as a teacher because I can speak baby language. Perfect. I'm not that far away from it. You know what I mean? I can speak like a beginner to beginners because, you know, sometimes when you're the college professor or whatever, it's been so long since you were a beginner, you know, sometimes you can lose some of that. So I feel like I'm, you know, just a few steps ahead of the people that I've been working on this with. And part of my evolution was when I first started attempting this and getting all the books that you told us to get and looking at recipes. And I'm not much of a recipe cook. I am a cook. I cook my own food all the time, but I'm much more of an intuitive cook. I mean, maybe I can be such a confident, intuitive cook because I have been cooking my whole life, but I'm not like the measure this and measure that, but so many people are. And so I'm always cognitive that I need to speak to everyone, you know, the intuitives and the intuitive cooks and the recipe cooks who want to know like to the teaspoon, you know, exactly how they are supposed to make something. But when I started doing this, it was a lot of unfamiliar ingredients to me. And so I think I even in our chat was like where do I get these? Like, you know, I was asking Mindy because Mindy might have moved, but she used to live very close to me, like same grocery stores.
Oh, wow.
Here in my town. And, you know, I was driving, you know, half an hour away to the Chinese grocery store, the supermarket, the massive Chinese supermarket that was completely overwhelming. And I can't read half of what's on the packages. And I'm, you know, embarrassed to go ask for help because I'm going to look like an idiot, you know, really, because I was just trying to do it right. You know, there was this like, I need to do this right because I really want to learn this. And then now that I understand the concepts, like the concepts of the temperatures, the concepts of the seasons, all of that, I've certainly started applying all these concepts to foods that are more familiar to me and more accessible to me. And not that I don't do the goji berries, you know, and all of that because I do, but I'm not as, it kind of derailed me a little bit.
Yeah.
And because I think I was just trying to follow the recipe and not use my my deeper understanding of what the goal was. And
it's like a new language. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a new language, as we say, with everyone who comes in to study 5-element nutrition. Once you get your head around the terminology, and it's great that, like as you said, it's a journey to go through. Like there's only one way, which is through it. So you get the information and you're like, wow, this is a lot of, you know, what's the thermal nature? How do I know if something's hot or cold? Or we have a whole nother layer as well on the different pathogenic factors. So you could have too much heat in the body, you could have dampness. And again, these are terms that we don't learn. Chinese people might have heard about it, like even young Chinese people, unless you know what it feels like in the body, it's very hard to understand it. But once you do, and you do try some, you know, different foods, then you start to feel it in the body. And that's, I think, definitely where you're at and where you've come to, is then you know that it's not about the ingredient per se. And that's why I want to emphasize that it's not about everybody in the world eating goji berry or Chinese ingredients that you see on Instagram. There are ingredients in your own food culture and in your own local environment that could potentially do the same. Not all, but potentially. So that goji berries is a great one because, you know, we talk about it for the eyes and vitamin A and lots of vitamin C and all those things. And then I always equate it to like acai berry from South America because goji berries went through a peak and a craze, and then it was acai berry. And then when I moved back to Australia, I'm like, what's local here, as an example? Because I do eat goji berries, but they certainly aren't grown here. And we definitely don't have acai berry from, you know, South America. But what we do have is something called kakadu plum. And it is a very, very high vitamin C plum and fruit. And they make it into a powder, and you can put that into your water or other supplement drinks. And so I do encourage everyone to, yes, learn about five element nutrition, but then start to draw back to where you are locally and even traditionally. You know, if you want to have iron or if you want to have fiber or vitamin C or any of these nutrients, where can you get these foods that are more local? Because I'm definitely not wanting everyone to have a Chinese, kitchen pantry. That's be great if you had a few teas or herbs and things that can help, but it's not about like throwing everything out and eating Asian ingredients. They're just there to help.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's been part of my journey. I actually, most of the audience knows that I'm vegan, and I got a vegan Chinese cookbook,
Oh,
and it wasn't a Chinese dietary. I mean, it was just a straight Chinese food cookbook, and it's been a journey.
yeah,
The
I love it.
ingredients are.
Yeah,
But I do have to go to the Asian store, like when I really want to just, I feel drawn to, I mean, my intuition, I've told this story, I think, on the pod, and I think I told you, I was in one of your classes, and you create beautiful slides, and you had a beautiful PowerPoint slide with these beets on it. And I was in Florida at the time, where I spend the winters, and like my energy was just like, whoom, just
Wow.
to like, I want these beets. Like, I must have these beets, like must go to store and buy beets. Like, I was so drawn to them. And, at the time I was having like some floaters in my eyes when I was running. I mean, I think I was, had some blood deficiency, and I literally went to the store, I bought beets, and I made borscht and had it like 3 days in a row. And I was like a new woman.
Wow.
And the more I've opened myself to that, the more it's worked for me. But I'm doing it with recipes some too. If I can just like read the ingredients in the recipe, like what is my energy doing? Am I feeling like drawn to it? Am I feeling like pushed away? And allowing my inner knowing to help me. If I don't know what I'm going to make, or I have to go to the store or whatever, to help guide me along the way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This inner knowing is something that, because people ask me very often, well, how do you know what your body wants? Or how do you know? Even my acupuncturist sometimes like, how do you know that? I'm like, oh, I just asked my body. And to me, that's a normal thing to say. But I realized after about 10 times saying it in the last, few months, people look at me funny. They're like, you speak to your body? I'm like, yeah, don't you? And then I realized, no, people don't. And to all your listeners, I'm assuming are mostly women, especially, I don't often, say we need to or insist, but I will insist on this one. We need to learn what our body is telling us. And when it comes to food, that is the most, innate and primal energy we have. It's like you said with the beets, if you are drawn to a food or even a flavor or something, your body is giving you a message. We're just not listening. And, then most people will say, what about chocolate? It's always asking me to eat chocolate. I'm like, no, it's not asking you. Your body will never need chocolate as a food. It's delicious. You can get, health food store ones, but it's something in the chocolate that you want. It's either a relaxing energy or it's magnesium. There's something in that food that you want. So you got to start to get quite smart about what part of the food or what energy. In your case, maybe it was, the beets and the very nourishing, high blood nourishing properties of it. I remember I have been vegan at some point. I'm more of a flexitarian, so I just eat a bit of everything, but I'm on about 80% plant-based. And I remember when I started doing that, and I was coming off very, very big meat-eating diet, I started craving cheese, like big time craving cheese. And I'm not a cheese eater. I never have cheese in my fridge. So I knew there was something out of balance. And I was in China at the time, obviously. And so I went, what am I missing? Because short of buying a big block of cheese and wanting to eat cheese, which I knew it would just congest me and it just doesn't work for me. I realized it was fats because I went off meat and to the other extreme. And another thing about five element nutrition is we don't do extreme. We're trying to find somewhere in the middle to stay in balance. Obviously, you can't be in balance every single day, all year. But if you start to get a bit hot or a bit cold or a bit blood deficient or a bit damp or whatever the condition is, how do you come back to balance? And then there's food that can help you with that. So yeah, I love your beet example. And a lot of women on that topic are blood deficient. It's a topic that I've been very passionate about and see a lot of, because blood in Chinese medicine isn't just the red fluid that you see. It's cultivated in the spleen from the food that we eat. It's moved in a smooth flow with yoga and movement practices, but the liver is a big part of that. And then we have the kidneys and the heart, which are in that system of blood movement and cultivation as well. It's also the thoughts. So I burn through a lot of energy and chi and therefore blood by being very busy. And so we can push ourselves, and a lot of women do, and then we don't eat enough, or we eat too little. Most women actually don't eat enough. You can call them calories, you can call them meals, whatever the word is, we just don't actually eat enough. That might be a separate topic, but it's very important to listen to your intuition and not push down hunger or push down cravings for a certain food because the body is telling you. So if you're craving sweets all the time, then you need more sweet food, not desserts or chocolate or candy, but like sweet potatoes and pumpkin and carbs like brown rice or black rice. Most people, let's just say men and women actually, aren't eating enough of those foods. That's the fuel and sustenance that we need.
Yes, yes. And I feel like I'll be remiss on this trusting your intuition point. As you know, Kimberly, the work of Donna Eden is integrated with the yoga practice. That's what energy medicine yoga is. And Donna Eden teaches energy testing. And that is, Donna Eden's, I hate to put words in her mouth. I don't think she'll listen to us, but plenty of her followers are going to listen to this. And she tests her food all the time. And so when I learned energy testing from her, there's a few different ways that you can do it. I won't get into all of these now, but the pendulum test really worked for me. And so, you hold the food, by the diaphragm, and then like you ask, this is yes or no, like in this moment, like will this strengthen my energy or weaken my energy? It's a binary question. Will this make me stronger or will this make me weaker? And then you learn if like, if your yes is forward and your no is back or whatever, but it's always a binary question, no matter all the different ways that you can do your testing. And there's, muscle testing, of course, and different ways, but there's this binary thing that you ask, well, does this food make me stronger? Does this food make me weaker? And that's the way Donna teaches to energy test your food. And I did that for a long time. And then, I started interviewing, like, should I make this meeting on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever? I just really started tapping into my energy. And so now I don't have to hold the thing or whatever. I can really sink into looking at a recipe and just know, will this recipe make me stronger? Will this recipe make me weaker? And I just know what my yes is and I know what my no is. And so I'm super tapped in and I do it quite intuitively now, but that's because for years I have been energy testing in this more specific way. But our energy is communicating to us all the time. And so I'm just piling on to what you said, Kimberly. It's just tuning in. And then the more that you have this relationship with your intuition, I trust you, I'm going to do it. I do it all the time. I was running and there's this way I never run and through this alley. It is an ugly alley full of dumpsters, literally. And I'm running down the road and all of a sudden my energy was run through this dumpster alley. And I'm like, intuition, I trust you, and so I ran, nothing exciting happened, but I have this, I want my intuition. I don't want to be overriding my intuition all the time. That's not good. So yeah. I'll never know why I got a pull to run down dumpster alley, but I did because, and I just wanted to follow it. So I think that there's many ways to get at listening to your energy and your body and what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe it was just a practice for you or a test to see if you would run down dumpster alley. And we do have to trust that. And that's a great point. It's something I've been working with as well in many different ways. One of them is when I leave the house, if I get a little intuitive thought, Like I used to dismiss it, like, bring an umbrella. I'm like, I don't need an umbrella. It's fine. And then sure enough, I leave and it's pouring with rain. I'm like, I should have listened to that inner voice. It told me to bring an umbrella. And so it is a practice. It's like a muscle. You have to exert your intuition and you have to tune into it. And then you have to trust it, whatever the message is. And, even if you bring the umbrella and it doesn't rain, it doesn't matter. You trust the thought and you're strengthening that. And then when it comes to food, absolutely. I have the same thing. I get either an upward sensation for a yes and a downward sensation for a no, but that's my way. But you have to build that. Yeah, and you can ask yourself, do I want, a hamburger or do I want a salad today or whatever it is? And listen, maybe you want the hamburger. I don't know. Or do you want oatmeal for breakfast or do you want eggs? Like encouraging your listeners to start to, it's not about overthinking or getting in the head. It's actually getting out of the head and into the body and like your felt sense. What do I need to eat today? What do you want? What do you want, body? Because you might get up. I got up this morning and decided that I need to make some like cumin and fennel seed and clove tea. That's just like, I haven't made that for months. And so my body was like, I want that. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. And off you go. Otherwise, you just get into the same pattern. People wake up, they drink coffee. I'm an Earl Grey tea drinker, so you make it out of habit. But sometimes I catch myself and I'm drinking my tea, and I'm like, I don't even want this morning. Like, why am I drinking? Oh, that's right. I make the same thing every morning. So try and start with simple things, and it can be dessert. Do I really want that today? Like if you're a chocolate after dinner person, like some people are, it becomes habitual and your body may not actually want that. Maybe it wants an apple or maybe it wants a different flavored chocolate bar. I don't know. But start to communicate for sure. And you'll see, big changes.
So I have one more question for you before we wrap it up. Here we are in summer. And it's truly very hot. And here in Colorado, there's truly very many fires. And it's, smoky hot. We have 4th of July weekend. At the time of this recording, we're at the week of 4th of July, which is a big hot holiday weekend. I think one of the biggest changes I have made since I've gone down this path is the cold food. And not everything from a chilled sparkling water, ice water, obviously like cold desserts and ice cream. Cold salad. I never, ever, ever eat cold salad. I will have some spinach out of the fridge that I dump a bunch of warm stuff on top of and like toss it all up. So the spinach gets a little more wilty and room temperature in the presence of things that are hot. So I will mix, some hot and some cold, but raw vegetables, all of, that is just not in my diet anymore. And I studied Ayurveda for years and years. I've studied Ayurveda in India. Same message. For some reason, it just did not apply to me. And that's for other people. And then when I started working with you, I guess I was just ready. I was like, I'm really going to start to remove all this. But I know when it's really hot outside and we're going to picnics and there's the ice cream, and we're hot. Like we want to cool down. It's freaking hot. And so we're drawn to the iced tea. And so I guess it's 2 questions for you. What should we be eating just, in the heat of summer? What are the right things that will truly cool us? And then what do you say to the person who still wants their iced tea?
I'm just thinking if I should start with the second question. What I would do is I'll answer it both together. So there's internal heat, right, in the body, and that can be generated by the body regardless of any season. And then when it's summer and it's in the height of summer, which you guys are in right now, your body will actually increase heat no matter what you're eating to match the temperature outside, because the best way to get rid of heat is to sweat. So that's why we get sweat, in the forehead or the eyebrows or the hairline first. Like the body's trying to expel the heat. So you definitely need cooling foods. It's not about not having cooling foods, but the notion of what a cooling food is different. So yes, we usually reach for ice cold water or iced tea or ice cream. they will cool you down. However, it's like kind of dumping a big, you know, bucket of water on a fire. You don't actually want to put all of the fire out. Your digestive fire, like in Ayurveda, they have the same concept, needs to still be alive in there. So we don't want to be like dumping all sorts of cold there, and then our digestion goes, and that's when people get diarrhea and all sorts of shutdown of the digestive system. So yes, cooling things are fine. And in Chinese medicine, we don't actually say there's any food that's bad. Even the most horrible, fast food or crappy ice cream or white bread. Like it's not, I mean, it is bad, but it's not bad if you know what to do with it and it's for the right person. So I'll start with that. You can eat ice cream on a really hot day. If your digestion is really fine and rock solid, one ice cream is going to be okay. The problem is when people have it every single night after dinner, or it maybe not homemade or a health food store one with all the other sugars and preservatives. But energetically speaking, we don't want to put out the digestive fire in any season. Our digestive fire tends to be more robust and warmer, so then you can have cool things, and that's fine. What we would suggest is a more gentle cooling approach. So, peppermint, tea, it's hot, but you could have it at room temperature. If you really, really want ice, you could. We're not a big fan of ice, but again, there's no food that's bad. But definitely keeping the body warm, I know that sounds counterintuitive, is important. But using the energetic properties of, you could put mint on a salad. I'm totally okay with salad in summer. Because if it's really hot, you don't want to be eating roasted vegetables. Like that's the wrong energetic, actually. So definitely more fresh vegetables and foods and ways of preparing things, or having things just even at room temperature, so it's not cold from the fridge. Like I personally, even in summer, wouldn't grab salad out of the fridge and eat it. I would take it out, prepare it, and let it sit, or pull out my ingredients that I'm going to eat raw, so it's not still carrying that really coldness from the fridge. But in Chinese medicine, we also have a lot of functional foods for summer, so that they're cooked. They might be in a soup or in a dish, but they have cooling properties, like zucchini. It's a melon family vegetable, so it has more water, which is perfect in summer, and it has cooling nature. So it's about learning those foods. So other foods might be all green vegetables, and you can do whatever you want with them. You could eat them raw. Most of the Asian greens anyway would be blanched or quick stir fried or sautéed. Same with Western spinach or zucchini. But light and quick, fresh cooking techniques is good. We're big on leafy greens, but also the color red. So things like radicchio and all of the beautiful like mixed salad leaves. Salad for us would be more as a side dish rather than a whole bucket of it as a main dish, because it takes a lot of energy to digest raw food, and same as they say in Ayurveda as well. So that's another overlap with Ayurveda. I'm a big fan of red rice and quinoa and amaranth in summer. That's the energy of those foods fit into the fire element and into summertime as well. For those folks that are not vegan or vegetarian, I would suggest lighter types of animal protein, so not like heavy red meat steaks and things like that. If you're going to have that in winter. For vegans and vegetarians, if you can gravitate, if you're okay with like lentils, red lentils are really nice. They're easy to cook, great in like summery soups with, I don't know, some fresh parsley and fennel on top at the end, or even mint if you really want. So it's more about lightness and freshness. I would still have soups, but maybe like a clear broth with veggies. So again, not so heavy and warming. I would save all of those foods and energetics for winter.
All right. Thank you so much for saying all that. Very timely. Yeah, I haven't had the little red lentils. I like them lemony. Like put a lot of lemon the red lentil soup. They just dissolve. It's a fast cook.
It's so easy.
Have that tonight.
Yeah, and it's that's what you want in summer. It's the energy of quick cooking. And when I say quick, I don't mean like take something and put it in the microwave, but it's not a slow bake in the oven. Like it's not roasted vegetables, which is what I would be having in winter in Australia right now. because I'm in the opposite season. So I'm not eating any of those foods that I just shared with you. I'm going to wait a couple of months until I'm in summer to enjoy those. So it's really, yeah, part of seasonal eating and feeling into what is going to help nourish you as well as keep you cool. Remembering though, you don't want to be cold. I know it's when it's really, really hot, you just want something cold, but see if you can, or even for your listeners, just to look up cooling food in Chinese medicine, not cold, but cooling, because we want that cooling effect. So even what I do in summer, for example, is in the morning I will make up peppermint tea with hot water and peppermint tea bag. If you have leaves, that's even better. I will let it sit out, and then it just becomes like a peppermint tea, but with no ice. So it becomes room temperature. If you really want, you could put a couple of ice cubes just to cool it down faster. But I would drink it at room temperature throughout the day, and that really helps me cool down. A simple one.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and water. It makes you feel good. And then you go back to ice water, and you're like, whoa, the body goes into shock because it's that cold. I mean, we have a lot of other ingredients in Chinese medicine and in Asian cooking, like mung beans. They have traditionally eaten in summer. They're cooling as well. And with the flavor of summer or the fire element, it's about bitter and spicy. But the spicy or chili is to induce sweat so you cool down. But bitter foods help as well. So rocket or arugula, any of the bitter salad greens, really, really, beneficial to help keep the body cool and the heart, what we call the heart fire as well, not overheating. So if you can tolerate bitter flavors, I would highly recommend some of those.
Yeah, they're good for you.
Yeah.
So Kimberly, how can people find you?
If people are interested in learning more, my website and Instagram are Qi Food Therapy, and Qi is QI, Food Therapy, all one word, .com on the website, and just Qi Food Therapy on Instagram, all one word. So, if people want to learn more about any of what we've talked about, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, and I feel like you have a great team of teachers around you.
The team in the nutrition course they're mainly acupuncturists. I love acupuncturists and work a lot with them. It's a beautiful bringing together or a collaboration of different acupuncturists and teachers who are also very passionate about food. Yeah.
They're great. I can 100% endorse that course.
Yeah, and really it's our passion for all of us in the team to spread the wisdom of 5-element nutrition, or 5 elements, and definitely food and nutrition, because it is so transformational when people start to understand food and their body from an energetic perspective. That's my invitation for people.
All right. Well, great. Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly, for being my first interview.
Oh, I'm excited that I was.
Yeah, this one, big ideas, because in our interviews, we call them big ideas. So thank you, Kimberly, for your big ideas and for being here with me for my first interview. And everyone on YouTube, you can put any feedback in the comments, or if you're listening audio, same thing, leave us a comment. And Lauren or I, or both of us, will see you next time on Energy Works. Alrighty, Energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Blaine? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you, so please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates, so light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.